Welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. It is March 19th, 2019. We are exactly 30 days from 420, guys. 30 days. It's going to be that time. Summer of Legalization after 25 years of activism and advocacy to see legalization. I had an interesting conversation with an American friend of mine out of Cali yesterday who was asking how things were going up here in Canada. You know, how you guys liking legalization? And I'm like, well, we haven't really had a chance to like it yet because we're just sort of getting out there. You know, we're just sort of letting the world know now. I mean, the world knows we're legalizing globally. Like I did say this in 2012, we're going to legalize globally. And now it's happening. And that's what, you know, fundamentally, that's what matters to me is when you're able to back yourself up with video and audio, it supports your arguments and why I really want to keep an eye on what's going on as we continue. Because, you know, people say last year, you know, Canada legalized. Yeah, we did, but not until the rainy fall time. So we really don't know what it's like to have a true summer of legalization. Is it going to be legalization with provocation and continued monopolization of our people? Or is it going to be more of a coming together party so we can all learn to work together in the industry? It's very, very open and wide open question for me anyway. Can you share this over, please, babe, over to YouTube for me, or over to Facebook for me, onto the public page? I'm just going to set a couple more things up here. I'm late out of the gate this morning, and I know that the show normally starts at 7 a.m. So for the people we met, I apologize, but I'm sure you can watch this back later. We are going to cut the shows down to 1 hour due to some new talk for investing. Again, we're not sure what we're going to do with the company. We just know the company has value after 11 years. You know, so we're not sure what quite to do with it, and there's a lot of different moving and shifting parts going on at one time. So yeah, I'm going to continue to share this out here, give people a chance to tune in. To my friends on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. And we are only streaming live to YouTube now. I went back to basics to give it a try. Normally I have 2 chats running, so I'll have people that don't like YouTube that will be on Facebook only, and they'll jump on the show.
I can't get on the chat. It's bounced me off again.
Bounce you off what chat?
YouTube. It's been like that for weeks for me. I have no idea why. I'm not the only one either. A few of us from Facebook were having that problem.
Well, we got like 2 people on, which is odd. No, there's 4. Is anybody having a problem using the chat?
I have for weeks. This isn't a new problem. This has been going on probably since my phone broke 2-3 weeks ago. Say 3 weeks.
Okay, well, I'm able to punch this in here. So anyway, morning all. Is there any problems at all with your chat? If you have a problem with the chat, please feel free to let me know. We are streaming once again only to iHeartRadio and to YouTube for the sole purpose. And to my friends on iHeart, when we do demonstrations, we'll start not streaming there. I am taking in the feedback as it goes. Good morning, Norman. Good Norman, Mo Green. I see the chat's working fine. If you guys are having any trouble posting, please let me know so I can see whether it's a broader problem or just maybe a settings problem or something within YouTube. I'm not sure what's going on. We seem to have people that cannot post to YouTube, and equally we have people on
YouTube that say they can't post on Facebook.
On Facebook that say they can't post there. So anyway, yeah. That's something that we're dealing with and we're trying to figure out. So enough said about that. Today's chat's going to cover a few different things from most importantly, talking about the processing of CBD. A lot of people don't realize CBD being processed in Health Canada regulations if you live in Canada. And these regulations, believe me, will come to you. These regulations will be in your country, and you're going to be facing this. And there ain't going to be so much of some guy on YouTube talking shit. It's going to be that same guy who was talking shit 11 years ago, still talking shit, you know, only since 2012. My shit's been accurate, you know. It's been accurate all right down the line. I watched them monopolize this country. I said it was a monopoly from day one of filing my case against the government, of putting them under a restraining order. From that day, I called them a monopoly because I knew the government was working with big corporations. I just couldn't prove it. Even my lawyers got mad at me for calling them a monopoly. but yet some of them call them a monopoly now. I don't know, man. It is what it is. It's one of those things where you kind of gotta roll with it. I'm gonna get that off. Oh, I just shattered all over the place. That's not good. This is how you get shatter all over your workstation. For those of you out there that have been trying, I'm gonna have to try to share this somehow off into a few different places here, because otherwise nobody's gonna know that we are on the air right now, even talking. It makes it that much harder. So I'm going to share this out to YouTube, get it into my own group. On Facebook. We do have a, and we need to start pushing this. We need to be able to get a lot of people. I guess if you're into social media, and if you are looking, if you're cannabis like-minded, friendly, and you want to be with like-minded people, then please come join the Cannabis in Canada group, either on LinkedIn, which I'm just starting to build the group out. So though there's only a few people there, expect to see a few thousand there over the next few days. It's one of my largest bases, but I haven't really reached out there yet. On Facebook, we're not really streaming there anymore because it split the chat up. So that's the reason right now, as I'm talking, I'm also trying to share into certain groups so that people can actually watch and know that if they come to YouTube, they can join into the chat. I don't think they even have to come over to YouTube to join in the chat. I don't know how exactly it works, but we'll see if that harvesting 5 strains, is that the title of this? How'd that happen? All right. I'm looking at my title and it doesn't even seem right. So I don't see that live button. There we go. Okay, YouTube Live. There, now I'm in a better chat. On my phone, believe this or not, all y'all out there with smartphones, if you do social media, if you can get your data hooked up in the house, like onto your Wi-Fi or your work, do that, because that will save you a ton of money, of course. Most of us know this, but for me, the timing between my laptop and here, there's a huge difference. So the time that I'm able to get your answer off my laptop, your answer will come in about 2 minutes after it's already come through the phone app. For whatever reason, both Facebook and YouTube, the phone app works faster. But now that we've been able to start to get it shared out here, we're starting to get a few more people in the chat. I'm just going to let it build up a little bit here, as I normally do at the beginning of the show, and we just simply talk Cannabis, talk about maybe, you know, you ever have leftover pizza and you just kind of want to wake up in the morning and say, oh, it's another day. Well, it's another day. But when our pizza boxes come out, it turns into kind of happy days. So these are the good things about living in BC and having good friends with good medicine. And that's, again, high quality. Shout out to Beard Brothers. High quality shatter that's out there. So to wake up to that in your pizza box and just be able to dab away is important. And that's what I'm going to do as I continue to share this out, and my wife continues to share this around to a few of the different groups that we actually belong to. I'd also give a shout out to the herbalpassion.net. The reason I say that is because they're now just launching, I believe they just launched their website officially for officially for sales. So now you'll be able to go on there and order your CBD. Everybody's been asking us, how do I get my CBD? How do I get my CBD? And I'm like, look, I can't speak for the company when they're going to start shipping. They have to arrange all that stuff and get all their stuff into place. But we are happy. And to our winner, Chris, last week, I haven't forgot about you, brother. You've been a long time supporter of Cannabis in Canada, and I have not forgot about you. Your address is in my phone, and I got to walk my ass over and at least put one of my own personal tincture bottles in the mail.
You might do some extra just because it took a minute.
Yeah, and I might throw in some.
Brad, we haven't on.
Oh, so is it Brad?
Yeah, Brad. You know what, dude?
I thought it was Chris.
And all over the place. It's just been a nutty kind of week.
It has been. Honestly, if I wasn't on tomorrow and I'm late.
The reason Jason was off because we've both been sick and stuff, right?
Yeah, and then again today, same thing. We've got these different things adding up, but it's good to see the regulars coming in, and we are growing back on YouTube. And what I need to know is what the hell are we gonna see coming up here in the Summer of Legalization 2019? We have people talking a lot of smack in Canada. We have America recognizing that they're going to legalize. I know I sound crazy, right? Well, Jeff Sessions, he ain't in office anymore, is he? That redneck retard is gone. Now, I know you all thinking Donald Trump never legalized cannabis. Donald Trump will make money. Donald Trump is about money. His name should be money, not Trump. So if you don't think he'll legalize once he sees how much money Canada's pulling in other countries, well, Canada's not doing so well, but other countries, and other states, it's going on across the world. No, it's my coffee maker making all that noise. I'm like, what the hell is that? If you guys have a Keurig, if you guys can hear that little crackling in the background, that's what a Keurig sounds like, I guess, when it's warming itself up, the machine. But anyway, funny things we talk about in the morning. And combining the chat today was a little bit different too. Trying to bring everybody over to one spot is going to be a little bit different. It's going to take a little bit of time to draw people over. So as we continue, we are going to talk about shatter. For instance, talking about slabs of shatter, whether you got big, quarter-gram slabs, whatever. This one, I don't know. This one's maybe a few grams. This one's maybe about a gram. So you got little shards, slabs, whatever. Ideally, don't drop your pizza box, because then you won't break your slab. But it's fun to talk about that. Now, we also, as I said, a lot of people talk about crystalline these days, and there's isolate from China for $5. There's crystalline that can cost you $35 a gram. That's food grade. And fundamentally, at the end of the day, no matter what your source of CBD is, no matter what your source is, it has to be under 3% THC, or it's illegal. Please understand what I'm saying. It has to be under 3% CBD or THC, or it's illegal to be called pure CBD. I've told everybody from the beginning, it is full spectrum no matter what, because there's always residual cannabinoids left over from any extraction. For those of you who don't know how CBD is actually extracted from the plant, it's really through a large lab process of extraction, basically knocking off all the other cannabinoids except for one that you're seeking, which is CBD. Now, if you're using CO2 extraction, you can actually annihilate 100% of THC and have 100% pure crystalline. Now, however, 90% of the labs out there, y'all are using friggin' ethanol, and you're continuing to process with ethanol, which is okay. I mean, most of the shit that we have on the market today has been processed with ethanol. But that's what the licensed producers are continuing to do. The big organizations are continuing to do. And that's sort of good and bad. I think there's regulations that are put on Canada, and I believe it's 10 grams of, I don't know how they're going to, I don't know how they're going to do this, 10 milligrams of THC in their edibles. I don't know how they're going to do this and have any sustainable business model, aside from going and annihilate every single cannabis baker in the country and anybody associated to it, because otherwise you're not going to make any money.
My thinking is that's exactly what's going to happen. The bakers, the people like myself that do tinctures and all that, we're okay because we're medical. But any of those rec fuckers that are out there making shit, oh, they're not going to be making cookies next year. You're absolutely right about that. Sad.
All home users.
I foresee them cracking down on those people too, and it's sad because you know what? It's myself included. How many people have been helped and or saved through brownies? So many of us have. Again, myself included.
And to my friends on Facebook just tuning in, thank you. We will be not streaming to Facebook unless we want to break up the chat again. I'm really testing. I'm still going through these testing phases before we actually put our money and our heart and our soul and whatever I've been able to save up and the investors I've been able to convince that we can make money with this company if it's done right. It was already demonstrated before, so the company can make money. It's a matter of whether now there's so many. Have you guys seen the new Be Real TV? Shit, check that stuff out, man. That's the bomb. I don't care. I mean, I'm chasing stars. I'm shooting for the stars. But man, that guy's got it going. I mean, money helps a lot, and directors and producers and somebody to work your board, and I get all that. But at the end of the day, it's still about content. It's about knowing, can you hold content? Can you hold an audience? And can your audience get along well together? And most importantly, can you moderate your group so that, you know, the trolls and troublemakers of Facebook and YouTube and social media in general simply can't get on and play around. YouTube's added a new function now. I think you guys see me do it to a guy on last week's show that came in and started saying a little bit too much and disrupting the show. So now there's a feature you can just click, block, ignore, and remove all of that person's comments from the chat. It's so as to protect the show, and I like that. I've even considered whether I want to go to YouTube Premium now, you know, and start doing that. That'll get me up to having, you know, maybe 200-300 people watching a show, simply because I'm using a different platform. A different algorithm is running, and it's hitting more servers and drawing more people to my show versus hoping that people just tune in. At the same time, it would be good for me to start scheduling my shows, start making sure I get everything ready. And now I've got all the feedback. And I'm telling you now, I've been trying to get back, and there's no excuse when I say trying. I mean really, really pushing to get back to everybody that comments. But when you get 300-400 comments in a day, it becomes hard. It really, really does. I mean, in a given day, I'm on the phone maybe 4 hours, and then another 3 hours probably on the computer. So it just goes crazy. And it's like, how do I keep up with everybody? You know, so then I realized I split my chat. You know, I'd have 25 people on YouTube and maybe, you know, 20 on Facebook. Well, I thought if they were both together on YouTube, I'd have 40 people in one chat conversing with each other and with myself. And I'm able to sort of keep up with it. I thought that would be the best thing to go about it, best way to go about it. And as always, each week we have our giveaway. Is my tincture bottle there? Well, when you're done there, yeah, not a biggie. But we do give the tincture bottle out once a week for the Herbal Passion. So if you're interested in doing this, it's another reason it's good that it's just one chat, because we used to have to pick which chat you'd have to jump over to. It's learning how to do these. We will be doing it through Cannabis Canada or CannabisCanadaInc.com, which is our website, of course. But you will be able to go there now. And if you wish to join the Cannabis Canada group, because you can't find us, we're a private group with 10,000 like-minded members. After the Facebook purge that knocked out about 50% of the cannabis groups, and the ones that remain, it knocked out about, well, in my case, in my group, it knocked out 3,000 people. I'm assuming those are dead accounts, spammed accounts, or blocked accounts. But that's a lot. Or sorry, I guess it wouldn't be blocked accounts, but it would be probably dead accounts that Facebook decided to purge. We don't know what happened. Similarly, on YouTube, we know that there was the famous YouTube purge that happened a few months back, and that YouTube purge was brutal. That YouTube purge took out some of my friends that I've known for years doing social media, and it took out their channel, all their content, everything, and I still don't know why. I'm assuming that they were using it for their business. A good example, Ramo, one of my good friends, just one of many that got their channel shut down, but he'd probably be one that suffered the most. And the only thing I can think of that he's doing different now than he did before was that he runs a business. Now, if you have to have some sort of business account on YouTube, I don't know. Who knows? We don't. I wanted to bring on, when I go on break, I'll grab my crystalline and that. The Herbal Passion, check them out. These guys are amazing. They've got their pure CBD product, and again, under that 3% marker that Health Canada wants, and that's an important thing. Though this is not an LP product, it meets LP standards. Aside from shelf stabilities testing, all the other bullshit that they have to do to make products get a product ID number. But when it comes to trying to build stuff out, to become water, if you have it, work around these crazy regulations being put on us in this country. They're still trying to mop out home growing, because they know as long as somebody can grow at home and they're not criminals, the majority of the public, as long as they're not going to be criminalized and they're not risking their job, their jail, or their wife, they'll grow. It's the truth. And then there's people that are like, I don't want to grow that. It's nasty. I don't like growing plants. Well, then that's okay too. Then that's where hopefully you have the income to sustain your medication. And I believe in my heart of hearts that the government in the provincial formularies that we have should be paying for this. So, last week's show and this week's show, I'm going to continue playing this up to 420. It's when we flew a drone up for the first time ever over 420. This is when drones first came out. This was many years ago. This was before they moved us to Sunset Beach. I played this last week. So when I do go to commercial break, that's what we'll put on. It'll give you an idea of why we needed to be moved down to Sunset Beach from here. It'll give you an idea of that part, and that matters, because when people don't know why we got moved, it's a little bit different. But when you see how big, you know, the crowd is, and how little control the police really have, I may also play How We Save Cannabis Day, which I've played before. What this does is remind everybody across this great nation that this is the summer of legalization, and any provocation by police at these 420 protests will be met with equal provocation by the activists. So I'm giving fair warning to you, Mr. Officers. You know, please listen to the activists and the organizers of these events. Threatening us with police force. There's 80,000 of us and friggin' 100 of your officers. Just don't cause a riot. We've seen what happened last time. In fact, I'm going to play that one first. Only because I want people to understand that we didn't get to where we are by being nice. We didn't get to where we are by saying, hey, you know, we think you should just legalize and you guys are going to make a lot of money off taxes. No, they lied for 80 years. While they fed us pharmaceuticals that kill us, give us cancers, and as we're learning, heart attacks. And, you know, a lot of us have lost family members to you know, there's a whole fuck cancer movement, you know, like that's a whole nother thing. So there's a lot to be said in that statement. But when I talk about activists, if you live in a small town or if you live in a big city, when the police come out in force and they want to surround you and there's more of them than there are of you, remember the fundamental rule: at least have 10 people and lock arms. Make them arrest all 10 of you. Get it on film. Get that shit on the internet and it'll make the news. It'll make the police look really, really bad for arresting those happy hippies that just legalized versus you bowing down and moving. I heard about the guys that kowtowed in fucking Ontario. Sad. Don't call a protest and then move just because the officer tells you to. Stand your ground. Don't say you're going to protest and then run the minute the police come. I get it if you're selling drugs. I get it if you got a cooler full of fucking weed. I get it. But for the real activists and the real protesters there to protest the laws, don't show up and then because the police say you got to go, you're in a small town and you're afraid. Because the officer says you don't have the right to take up posts here and hold a public demonstration to exercise your right to free speech and your right to assemble. That's a constitutionally protected right. Let me play this video and you guys will see how not only myself but several other prominent activists here in BC warned the police to get out of the crowd, that they're provoking a riot. And we don't want this kind of stuff happening in Canada over legalization. We're not a violent culture. So I'm saying this because I believe this year, if any, they're going to go after 420 more. Honestly, they're going to go after 420 more for the simple fact that they can now turn it into an event. Maybe next year 420 will be permitted by the city because it'll be facilitated by a big corporation. And what was once our protest will become an event. It's my fear. Again, it's not what I'm saying is happening. It's just my fear. Because we're not done yet. Just because we've legalized, we're not done. Unless you're all happy with legalization that they've given us, then that's fine. I'm not. I've got my plants. I'm happy with my plants. But even that's not secure. Only 4 plants.
Sucks being bounced off the chat.
So it's really, 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 yeah, just one of those things that I hope everybody can understand. And I do apologize for being late getting out onto the show today. I'm going to try and grab a news feed that I wanted. I wonder why that wouldn't let me. I don't know. That says it's posting, but I'm gonna have to let it go. Anyway, hey, Fearless Freddy's back on, or Fearless Fred Fury. I tried to get that name right. But yeah, this video, since I'm having a glitch here, this is a perfect time. Oh, I see. It just, well, it doesn't want to let me share it to that section. I'm still getting new to this new YouTube platform. If anybody uses YouTube, realizes that it's recently just set, and now it's giving me an unhealthy stream. So I'm going to hope for the best here, that I get my health back on my stream. I'm not seeing any problems on my broadcast software, but YouTube is saying that it's having a problem. All said, if there's any questions at all before we get going, again, we are talking today about shatter. I also wanted to talk about crystalline and Health Canada's regulations, because there's a lot of people importing CBD, and it all has over 3% THC, because it hasn't been properly processed through a lab, and it hasn't been done through CO2. It's been done using ethanol. So it depends on what method of extraction is being applied to crystalline or isolate, if you have it. People will call it isolate in its broader context. I will say food grade crystalline when it's properly 99 point something % pure, and it also has under 3% THC. Y'all are saying, but it's supposed to be just CBD. And it's like, no, dude, no matter how you do the extraction, there's going to be a little bit of CBG, a little bit of CBN, trace elements, but they have to be under a certain percentage for the government to just say they don't exist and tell you it's pure. Kind of messed up, ain't it? But it's the way they do it. So it is what it is. So if you think that you got pure CBD isolate, you don't. You have full spectrum isolate likely, and it likely has THC residual in it. Not that you're going to get high, but you know, I suggest that you get it tested at a lab and make sure that the residual is under 3%. Because then you have a viable product for a licensed producer or somebody else to get a business-to-business agreement with, and you'd be able to sell that shit. You know, I mean, this is, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying there's very, very few opportunities left for people in Canada. It's very, very sad. Unless you're just a grower and you can grow good weed, then it's sad, because there's not a lot left for people in Canada. Yeah, there really isn't. I'm not gonna. I don't know what else to say over and above that, because it's really sad that here the Summer of Legalization, and to my American friends and to my Aussie friends, you already know what's up in Australia. But to my California friends that are watching, yes, we're not all happy in Canada. It's not all peace, love, and happy shit and hippie shit. That's not happening. That's not the Summer of Legalization. Otherwise we'd all be running around with flowers in our hats and be celebrating just how happy we are about being able to legally use our cannabis without fear of persecution and or conviction, and actually going to jail, potentially doing a nickel. You can do a nickel now for friggin' 100 or more plants, I think it is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's absolutely insane. There's harsher penalties now after legalization than there was before, and it all comes down to royalties. They're just going to simply say, you are part of the royalties. You're infringing on their royalties, and that's all that they care about. And that's business, I guess.
And if this is really important to you, we're like a year-ish, couple of years, under 2 years away from our next election, right? I mean, if these things are important to you, this is all, like you say, you've drilled this into me. It's so true. It's not about, you know, it's about who's in current power. And
yes.
So if you're not happy with the current fucking state of legislation, you know what, vote in the next, you know, whomever we believe will, you know, be working, you know, for a voice for the little guy. Because the Liberals have no interest, no vested interest in the little guy. I will not be voting red. That much is for damn sure.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is now's the opportunity to remember that all the politicians watching, and I want people to remember this is one thing I learned, and this may sound friggin' arrogant, whatever, you guys may not think it's going on. I can tell you now, if you fight Big Brother, you fight the government, they're listening to everything I'm saying right now. They got somebody assigned to listen to what any cannabis groups, movements, anything are doing to push back against their cash grab. I would also note that, you know, I can't prove this, but in my own opinion, they're all invested in the stock market. Why would the Canadian Medical Association come out and say 1 to 3 grams is enough? They're trying to make sure no matter what, you buy from that corporation so their stock profit goes up. And there's a reason that some of these doctors are referring you to one LP and some doctors are referring you to another LP because of kickbacks. Now, at the end of the day, what I see is a medical patient being used as a fucking mule. And that's what's wrong. Profit over patience. It's bad. Bad for business. You piss off a bunch of patients, you get Allard. You get a fucking trial that kicks the government's ass. You restrain the federal government. You beat them. That's what you get when you start messing with people. And now they're continuing to do this. So I ask again, the summer of legalization, I might have a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun now. I mean, I'm sitting here with a pizza box of shatter. I'm looking at fucking about, I don't know, 2 liters of fucking of highly infused THC that's like quad infused. It should be watered down if you're going to give it to anybody that's never used THC. But it's experimenting, and it's what I like to do. I love cannabis chemistry, and that's what this is all about: freedom, democracy, the right to choose, and the autonomous use of one's body. And if you don't know what that is, it falls in line with what the World Health Organization just said. Cannabis has medical value, and we're reclassifying it. It's no longer going to be called marijuana. Not with a J and not with an H. Canada spelled it with an H, America spelled it with a J. That's the only difference. At the end of the day, it was a slang word brought up to scare people back in the 50s. Oh, marijuana, Spanish word, scare people. Devil's drug. It's going to kill your wife. Well, check out Reefer Madness. It's amazing video to bring you up to fucking bring you up to speed with what's going on. But to the powers that be that I restrain, to you, big brother, I've had a few months to recover, 6 months. My crew, my friends, and my family have had time to recover, and we will not stand down. We are a free and democratic peoples, and we will not stand down. Knock one of us down, the next one will stand up. That's what free people do. But you will not monopolize us and force us to live your legalization dream. We all have a legalization dream, and God damn it, we should be allowed to live it. Not face this sort of provocation at any of our events in the summer of legalization. Please pay attention to how we handle the police in this situation, and don't ever be afraid to stand your ground when it comes to the right to protest and assemble in a public venue. We'll see you after break. Welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. We're sitting here at the Art Gallery. It's 8:30 in the morning. We got a few people that are standing around that are saying they're not going to go anywhere. And believe me, there's going to be a lot more as the crowd grows. So will the activists continue to make their moves.
Just remember me the right way. Want you to keep in mind today better than yesterday. And for my fellow companions, all I could do was pray. But remember me like your memory, just like a fragment of a kin, friend, or enemy. So many enemies trying to get into me. I'm just a broken part, feeling detached off. Cause trying to get in this game is like a scratch off.
Opus, otherwise known as McMahon. Brother, we go back a lot of years. You know, West Coast is in the house. What do you think of what the hell's going on with this?
It was interesting. You know, the tent started going up. The city officials came over, and I noticed they had the biggest guy they could find from the city wearing the Viz vest. But we stood up for our rights. They had the cops sort of all hanging around the outside, so there's their backup, obviously, in case, like, what are we thinking? We're gonna jump the city guy?
We're just here assembling on the stairs outside the Vancouver Art Gallery. I'm trying to have a peaceful protest here today. The city knows that, but it looks like they are out in force. Just remember my name.
Why aren't you guys on the perimeter? You were on the perimeter before, and now you're right in the crowd with a camera. What's the reasoning for the camera in the crowd? You should be on the perimeter because now you're engaging the activists, you're engaging our cameras. Go back to the perimeter where you belong.
We're just keeping the peace.
Peace. I'm amazed because it's been 15 years we've been doing this and we've never ever seen this sort of provocative stance from the police.
To have that police presence there and to use those intimidation and harassment tactics the way they did is outrageous.
There was non-communication. You know, we didn't even know
he said, if you keep selling cannabis, we're going to arrest you.
It was an organized effort. It was almost like it was rehearsed. It was almost like it was funded from not the VPD.
I was scared that they were actually going to get away and deter people from Cannabis Day.
I said, you know, we're going to start selling cannabis. That's our protest. You know, the laws against selling cannabis are why we have Cannabis Day. So he said that he understood that and that they were going to be realistic.
Back, he's under arrest.
These guys got extremely violent, extremely fast.
Shame on the city of Vancouver. Shame on the VPD.
We have no need for all these officers. They're worrying all of these people here. You should send them back somewhere else away from here. We don't need to have this police presence.
Knowing that we were not violent and they continue to push us. And then when passive civil disobedience and passive resistance is implied, why use mace?
We were not violent. You know, I mean, it was excessive. They were trying to push me back.
Look, you guys don't need to be here. You're causing problems by being here. You could be inciting a riot.
Don't let any, listen to me. Anybody at that booth, you don't let anybody give out a dab. You tell them all, don't give out a freaking dab. Don't share any joints with anybody that you don't know. Period. It's very important right now because they got us all. They're watching us and they know some of us just left. Welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. I've got Owen Smith here and Ted Smith, and we are on the island. Guys, what do you think about what's going on here in Vancouver?
It is a sad day, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but you know, our soldiers have, you know, stood their ground, and hopefully we'll be able to move ahead and have a better Cannabis Day next year.
This prohibition causes more and more pain and suffering as all of its horrible parts are exposed.
Cannabis Day, its roots are in medical, and clearly the MMPR just got ruled unconstitutional. So how dare they try to step in and shut down Cannabis Day?
So sad, after 20 years of peaceful events, that the city would do this. It's not, you know, the influence of cannabis causing all this harm. It's the law, again, just causing harm in people's lives.
The prohibition that's held up by the federal government is causing all of these problems. And Vancouver City is trying to look good for the government by trying to crack down on these people, but it looks terrible. We have a poor, you know, sick people who are being stepped on in the street.
It's just the saddest day in cannabis activism in this country's history.
Activists will unite because police took a bad stand today in doing what they did in Vancouver, and I think it is a sad day for Canada.
We're going to continue on this together. We got to stick together.
Hey yo, it's paradise splits, sipping on a fifth, looking in the sky like this is where I love to live.
The Canadian government's getting out of the marijuana business. Canada's health minister announced changes to medicinal marijuana access. They're aimed at reducing crime, but many people think it will do the exact opposite.
He's one of 26,000 Canadians with a license to grow medical marijuana, starting to feel anxious again since the Canadian government announced the system's about to change. Soon there will be no more medical marijuana produced and distributed by the government, and no more growing regulated marijuana from home.
Jason Wilcox has been organizing the coalition against the repeal of the medical marijuana access regulations, particularly the personal production licenses and designated production licenses.
I believe in patient options. You should be able to go and have somebody grow it for you if they have the place and the room and the ability, or order it from a pharmacy or big business, whatever you want to call it, however the program is modeled. And then you should also have the right fundamentally, especially if it's to put in your own body, just like when you smoke it, you should have the right to grow it.
Health Canada will, if successful, only license large-scale commercial operators who produce our medicine at up to 4 times the current cost.
Government is simply hijacking and cornering the market, my friends. The issue is getting up to 26,222 legal growers, trying to get as many of them as possible to understand and unite and get on this file so that we can actually be prepared. So when Health Canada chooses to make their move, we're all prepared to take it on.
A federal judge has approved an injunction allowing current licensed medical marijuana users to continue growing their own pot past April 1st.
A court in British Columbia ruled users can continue growing their own pot for now. This decision comes less than 2 weeks before new laws for medical pot take effect in Canada.
This is huge news, and then so many patients right now, they're not suffering tonight. Tonight they're going to get to sleep. It's very hard for me not to get angry and frustrated as I think about the 500 plus impact statements I've read of people paranoid, and not just paranoid, God-given fear of going back onto pharmaceuticals because of what the government's doing now to medical patients. It's unconstitutional, it's not Canadian, it's unethical, and it's not right.
My doctor, he wouldn't take my MRIs, he wouldn't send my MMR forms. And through other things, I was really having a tough time, but it seems that one major stressor, removing that threat of losing my garden by the government, even having the threat of armed guards coming into my home to make sure that it's shut down, really hurt me and hindered my healing. And that was the beginning.
I'm aware of people who don't have a medicinal license, who buy their marijuana from medicinal growers.
I would use the analogy though too, that we look at how many drunk drivers and people on pills right now are going out driving drunk and killing people. We police the drunk drivers, we don't throw all the cars off the road. And that's what they were trying to do with the patients, and I'm glad that justice stepped in and interfered and allowed the Constitution to have a chance to put the MMPR under constitutional scrutiny.
Right.
I just really hope that we all get what I think we deserve, which is freedom. And that's what this is all about.
The coalition of what's going on, these are people that are willing to stand up to the government with their endless amounts of money in pockets and, do what we can, hit the streets, hit the roads, canvass, talk to people, just go out there and promote to one person at a time, change perception and views by, articulating truth. And, I'm proud to be a part of that movement.
Now we're at $180,000 raised. What are we looking at over and above the $250,000 that we originally set out?
I'd have to estimate high. I'd have to say, look, let's shoot for $1 million because who knows? You've seen the attitude of the federal government. They recently are putting ads on paid for by the taxpayers about the dangers of cannabis. It's just another herb.
There's going to be a lot going on in the next year. It's our one big historical chance. Either we make it happen or we don't.
We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Who you are or what you are.
2 minutes, everybody.
If you have a belief in ensuring that people's rights should be taken care of, you should be donating.
It's for the people. It's we the people who want this, and you know, it's coming.
People needed access to these products because it helped prolong and help, you know, save a lot of suffering.
This is going to end. We're past the point of whether we will or will not win our gardens. We will. So yeah, you licensed producers, you better be worried. I'm not going anywhere. This is far from over.
I'm pretty confident that you're going to win. I mean, you can't guarantee it, but I feel like that's going to be a preserved thing, the right to grow your own cannabis for medical purposes, as it should be.
I think that we got a super strong case. I'm really looking forward to what John can do in the court, and I hope it's heard fairly and with an open mind.
I hope we legalize, but again, I hope we legalize with gardens so that there isn't this fight that I worry about between the underground, these growers that exist, and I know them. You know, the BC economy is almost run by these growers. You know, if that starts a gas war, then security is going to go up because the gangs get involved or real organized crime gets involved. I say, why doesn't the top down first recognize it as medicine, take it out of the CDSA, classify it as a safe and harmless herb it is, and call it and put it into herbology, or put it back into pharmacopoeia and let the doctors prescribe it the way it should be. And look after the damn patients. At the end of the day, it's about the patients.
Welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox. And there it is, guys. That is protesting, fighting back from the municipal level, protect your protest, to fight the government with 15,000 patients, restrain them, put them on trial, kick their ass, get your money back. That's what all summed up in those little short videos. So I hope you enjoyed the break. I know I played that 100 times, but I'm proud of what we did. You know, when I talk to my American friends, I'm starting to talk more and more with these suits that I never used to talk with. And I'm not, hey, you're rich, you're rich. But, you know, I don't normally had a chance to really explore, you know, what's really causing the next fight? Like, where is the next battle for Canada? You know, we got 15 minutes left in the show. What is the next real battle left for us here in Canada? And I think the real battle is how are we going to work together? Because battling each other ain't going to be nowhere. 50% of the industry is working with the underground. These big corporations, there's 100 of them, you know, 100 plus. They're working with us in the underground, other people in the underground. This is stuff that is going on in Canada, and that's working together without regulation. So by definition, organized crime. So instead of having the government criminalize and marginalize and monopolize its own people, I don't know why people in industry, I get the profiteers. I get, you know, you want to make your money. That's cool. But there comes a time where you got to realize you're not making money and you're not monopolizing a free people. You're being met with resistance that's being shared through social media networks that's making it to other countries. Those other countries are now formulating very similar groups to what the coalition was, to what we did here in Canada, raise an army of patients, because it's very hard to knock a patient down when the person's already sick or dying. It's very hard to knock them down with regulations and tell them they can't look after their own body with cannabis. You're going to have to show some motherfucking justification for that shit. And what was Canada able to prove? I put Canada on trial. I charged Canada. That's what you need to remember. Somebody had to charge Canada for them to be the defendant and for us to put them on trial and seek an injunction. Now, it's not every day you can just walk up and throw someone on trial, because most lawyers won't sign up for $1 million constitutional trial where the government's the fucking defendant. Extremely rare to beat them, but you know why we beat them? And just like you're going to see in the documentary, John Conroy says it himself, it's because the government was coming from a bad place and we were coming from a good place. We knew there'd be no supply for patients. Hell, there's no supply for patients now. Some 5 years, 6 years, 7 years later, whatever it's been, 2012, this started. This is when they all put their seeds down. They started to grow. I can tell you where all the weed's going. It's going over to the border. Why? Same reason these Teenager bottles aren't going out in Canada. Because nobody can compare with this 1,000 milligrams of CBD from a licensed producer, because they can only put 30 milligrams. So what do? They ship it overseas. So to my friends in Romania and Bolivia and friggin' Australia and in Ireland and Germany, when you're receiving Tilray and Bedrocan and you're paying $500 a vial, just note that you can get it for $60 if you come visit us here in Canada. Our friend, home of the Canucks. What can I say, eh? So laugh at our accents, do what you want, but you know what? We're still here fighting, and I tell you now, as shown in those videos, it was never done easily. It was always fought for every inch we got. When we started with 10 people way back in the day at the art gallery saying, we're opposing these laws and this is a protest, and some of us being threatened and at times being thrown in the back of the paddy wagon, you know? Having to eat that cold coffee or drink that cold coffee and eat that fucking rubber sandwich in the morning. Yeah, I know. That's just their routine. They're allowed to hold you for 24 hours for disturbing the peace. Even though you haven't done that, and I know you're going to think, but I thought you said it was your right to exercise your right. It is. It doesn't mean the police are going to necessarily follow the law 100% either. So if they can turn us into the bad people, then they can find ways to shut it down. Though they want to call it a farmer's market, I want to say no, it's not a farmer's market. It's a protest. It's protesting the laws that prevent these farmers markets from ever happening. We wouldn't be discussing this if it was just a free and fair market. If farmers could just go along the roadside and make their friggin' little stand and sell strawberries just like they can, sell their cannabis just like their strawberries, we wouldn't have a problem. Let the market dictate itself. But you business suits, you all know what I know. You ain't got to connect to the culture, you ain't got to connect to the people. And Snoop Dogg ain't going to sell your weed. Maybe to a few kids, but he ain't going to sell much weed for you.
Not unless you're fucking Tilray.
Sorry, I love Snoop's music, but honestly, Snoop's not gonna sell your fucking weed. You want to use that kind of marketing? You're not going to connect to the culture because you clearly don't get the underground, the culture. This is the voice of the underground. We are the underground. As long as you continue to suppress and oppress your own people in lieu of legalization and profiteering and putting profits over patients is not going to continue to happen. Now, for all you shatter people and all you people that jump ship because, oh no, they shut our dispensaries down, we're not going to make money. Well, good, bye. And to you activists that want to stand up and fight for liberty, justice, and freedom in a goddamn land of the free, home of the brave, are we really? I don't see too many brave motherfuckers standing up now. All I see is 100 companies, like I told you, that was surrounding us, setting their shops up, taking over our country, and selling you inferior weed. Now I'm set for life because I can grow my weed to a connoisseur level and I can do 10 things from Sunday with it when it's done.
Can I cut in? Because there's a mass flood of CBD on the market. With that comes a mass flood of snake oil. What I'm getting in the last, say, 6 weeks is an influx of people saying they tried CBD and it didn't work, and I'm getting a lot of those sorts of things happening again. If that's happening to you, I would suggest, you know what, it's not the cannabinoids that are disappointing you, it's probably the producer. Sorry, I just had another pop-up PM that came in, the same thing, watching your show, tried CBD, went to a store, grabbed a natural
Can you grab my
product.
CBD for me up there, the 1 ounce jar?
Yeah, grabbed a natural health product and it let me down. It's actually a friend back east. So you're like, and that hurts me, man. That really hurts me when people say, buddy, I trusted your fucking show. I grabbed this product and... Who
said that? No, I want to know who trusted my show and grabbed what product, because you know what? Oh, I was just going to say 1 second here. You know what? One thing I've done is, honestly, you guys can go back. I got 800 videos on my... Can I finish here, please?
Sorry, babe. She wants to
I did 800 videos on YouTube in the past friggin... This is yours. Can you want to grab mine, please?
Where is it?
Top shelf.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks. Sorry. My frustration really would lie in I've been educating on the show here for some time, and I point people, the one thing I'm always proud of Cannabis in Canada is we will not promote a superior product. I don't care. You can come pay me whatever you think you can buy me for. Nobody can buy me.
No. Or me.
Go punch in Cannabis in Canada and see what it leads to. Those are the motherfuckers that tried to buy me. They couldn't buy me. And they didn't get my company. And they didn't get my intellectual property. Because I can't be bought. Money, I must be fucked up or something. But once you are told you're going to have only so many years to live, or months to live, get your affairs in order, you kind of look at life differently. And you realize money ain't a thing. Other than paying your rent and you're fucking eating your meals and doing, it's good to have money. Don't get me wrong. But it's also good to have ethical, moral compass in place at the same time. So people bringing in CBD from China at $5 a gram, kilos and kilos and skids and skid. kilos and kilos and skids of CBD coming in over the border. And when it comes in over the border from China, it's legal. It's under 3% CBD or THC, but it's 40% buff plant material. Have it tested. This is the kind of shit that pisses me off because patients suffer and then they end up getting turned off of CBD when we're trying to show you how it can save you. My God, if Dr. Sanjay Gupta stopping that baby from seizuring did not change your mind, what would? It made him change his mind, and he was the nominee for America for the Surgeons General nominee of America, the top doctor in the country. And this guy says I had a 180-degree turnaround about cannabis. They should be given to everybody. The endogenous system, the CB1, CB2 receptors, all the stuff that they don't want to talk about so that they can tax you. Because if you realize you're medical, no matter how you use cannabis, well, then you're not going to accept being taxed anymore. You're not going to accept paying $15 a gram when you can go down and buy it for $5 a gram from your neighborhood grower. The one that's not seeking to be a profiteer. Now, just as we close out, back to CBD crystalline. This is my own, it's just stuff I got set aside here because I use an ounce at a time when I make batches of certain things, oils mainly, but different things that I'm experimenting with. Most importantly, this is lab processed 99.5% crystalline. And it comes with their own lab testing and everything else, the batch testing that is applicable with doing this. Now again, within this crystalline, we have to know that there are trace levels of THC. Full spectrum is going to have trace levels of everything. And that's why Health Canada has a regulation. You have to have under 3%. And even if you're looking at hemp fields and shit, I mean, there's certain plants that they're really making it arbitrary. The laws are very arbitrary on how it should do or how they should do it. Because you can make this at home in your lab if you have the right lab equipment. You know, with a Rotovape and a few other things, you can make CBD crystalline. I don't know if you can get it under 3%, just using, again, ethanol. As an ethanol-based extraction, you can go to this point. Now, I'm no chemist, and I'm not going to pretend to be, and I'm not going to talk like I am. Shit, I can't even barely understand the process of extractions. So I'm not gonna go further than that. This is the education granted me by lab techs and doctors and people that know what the hell they're talking about. That way I can come on here and give you guys information that I feel is sound and accurate and researched and vetted. That's what matters on this show, and that's what matters for everybody out there. And your CBD, again, you already should have a quality assurance lab test with anybody you buy from. The motherfucker wants to come up and talk shit with you, get him to show you a lab test. It's even harder to link the lab to the CBD because the test could be some fucking vanity test from fucking somebody else's batch. And not the Chinese shit you just got that came in over the ports. Legally through the FDA. Because it also has food stabilizers and it fucks you up. And then it has 40% buff, so it's really only about 60% pure. Not 99.5% pure, no, 60%. So you're getting ripped off. You're paying $5 a gram, and you're ripping patients off in the process, and it's already FDA approved. You're not doing anything special. You're doing what that patient could do themselves. Get on the internet and go order it from China. You can do it right now. I've been saying this for years. Then other people come on, well, Jason, is it hemp CBD or is it fucking cannabis CBD? Well, fuck, motherfuckers. Get this shit straight, man. We all need to know this. The molecules don't change. The cannabinoid spectrums don't change in the cannabis species, be it hemp, cannabis sativa, cannabis afghanica, cannabis indica, cannabis ruderalis. All of them take CBD from any one of those fucking plants. The molecule ain't going to change. CBD is CBD, period. Let's just get that straight so we can stop misinforming each other. I'm sorry if I'm yelling and ranting, but you know what? I don't mind doing that once in a while because it takes that kind of fucking emotion and passion for people to wake the fuck up. Stop bitching about being ripped off and do something about it. Get educated. On that note, we'll see you on tomorrow morning's show, 7 a.m. sharp. Thank you for tuning in today, and I apologize for being late. And, yeah, and for the chat, keep it going there if you want. I don't know, do you want to run this into a little bit longer, Vic, or not? We're good? Alright. So we're gonna
60 minutes?
We're just over about 30 seconds over. But we're sitting at 24. I'm just trying to wonder if the chat's starting to pick up a little bit because I'm getting ramped up or what. You guys want to share this around? I don't know if you guys want this to go. You can't put up. I'm only streaming to YouTube today. I'm not sure what to do other than to just look to tomorrow's show. I'm going to follow what my advice is. It's hard because, you know, I really want to keep it going, but at the same time, I can talk a lot. So that's just the way it is. You got to know your strengths and you got to know your weaknesses. Anyway, on that note, my friends, always remember to punch up, don't punch down. If you see some weak-ass motherfucker that's fucking posing up and pretending, you don't need to punch him down just because you know he's a bitch. You just need to fucking move on. Continue with your life. And try to empower people. I just had this conversation with my daughter yesterday. We work to build bridges, not blow them up. And right now in Canada, my friends, the more we attack each other's brands, when we're not even recognized brands, we're just the underground. We're only fighting each other for the scraps off their table. As free and democratic men and women, why would we accept scraps from the table of the federal government of Canada when we're legalized? On that note, this is Jason Wilcox, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.